Hello everyone and welcome to Geopolitical Trends. My name is David Oualaalou. So great to be with you today. Why is the United States preparing to send long-range bombers to Australia? It's a fair question. Is it a signal to China? Is it a signal to changes in the Indo-Pacific? In this video, I am going to provide you a brief analysis as to why that is, because it just came out of Washington last night. So this is why I wanted to come in the air and share this with you. But before I delve deeper into this topic, please don't forget to subscribe and hit the like and the notification button so you will be notified every time I post a new video. And as always, thank you for your support. So here is what's going on. The United States, some documents just came out of the Pentagon last night, plans to send up to 6 B-52. And B-52 long-range bombers are known to carry, of course, nuclear weapons. So the United States that is, plan to send those 6 B-52s to a facility which is under construction currently in Australia. Makes you just wonder, This is a sort of a display, because it's a straightforward. It's a display of the West's power to deliver nuclear bombs in the Pacific, aimed at escalating the tensions between the United States and China, of course. And this is sort of out of the blue. All of a sudden, Australia has to bow to U.S. orders by building a facility. And there are those who say, well, maybe Australia doesn't have a sovereignty. Well, of course, let's just say it the way it is. Australia is under the command of the United States. It's no secret. So we just need to say it the way it is. So and the thing is, the United States or Washington plans to build these dedicated facilities it's going to be at the Royal Australian Air Force location called Tyndall Air Base in the northern Australia. And this is where the B-52s will be housed, This information, as I said, came out of the Pentagon, but it has been already verified and corroborated by some other sources like Reuters. Usually they are reliable to a degree. I did check on the information, is confirmed. That's what gives me the confidence to come on the air and share this with you. So the long-range aircraft serve as a cornerstone, basically, of the U.S. nuclear deterrent. But we all know why that is. And why that is to send a message to Beijing, basically, of both the United States and Canberra's strength posture. This is a posturing just with the nuclear deterrence, that is, And all of this is a reaction, according to these documents, what this disclosing is that it's a reaction to China's military presence through the Indo-Pacific region. Yeah, but also there's underlying tensions that exist on the economic front, for example, like the microchip that now the United States wants to target China for. The facility, by the way, will cost about $14 million, according to the documents that reveal this, its budget set for, And makes you wonder, I wonder how Australians think about all this, given the tension between Australia and China have sort of reached another level, especially when China cut off all the delivery of its exports to Australia. And we did a video on the other platform way back a few months ago, and I even invited some Australians for some interviews. Robbie, I remember him, having him on our show, and it was straight to the point that Aussies were not even consulted on this kind of stuff. And that gives you an idea right there. Australia is, and when I say Australia, I'm referring to the government, not the people, is under the command of the United States. Yeah. Even Pine Gap, I don't know if you know about Pine Gap or not, which is an intelligence facility, Even within Pine Gap, there are locations inside that Australians are not authorized to go there, only Americans. And you have to be cleared at that level to be inside those locations within Pine Gap. So here's the thing, the way I look at it, having a bombers that could range and potentially attack mainland China could be very important in sending a signal to China that any of its actions over Taiwan could also expand further. This is according to the documents as to what it's saying. And you can just see what is the objective of this. And this is why, guys, I asked you last time, and by the way, thank you for your response and feedbacks and comments and statements. I truly enjoy reading all this. But this is why I asked you last time, could the United States and China go to a hot war over Taiwan? So this posturing and the allocation of the 6 B-52s into Australia, it's an indication of that. Like I always say, look out for trends. So that's what it is. What you need to understand, one thing about Australia is that it is a member of what we call the Five Eyes. And the Five Eyes, basically, it's an alliance between the intelligence agencies of Australia, Canada, New Zealand, the UK, and the US. That's why we call them the Five Eyes. The purpose of this alliance is to share information of political or military values. And of course, it's using signal intelligence. These countries are parties to the multilateral UK and US agreements, And this one is a treaty that was signed way back for joint cooperation in signal intelligence, Something I'm a little bit familiar with during my days in the military. That was part of also what I was dealing with at that time. But here's also part of the historical aspects of the Five Eyes. It goes way back to 1941, believe it or not, before the United States entered the war. So this is why I want to provide you at least a historical snapshot, just for you to know how it came to be. So the earliest origin of the Five Eyes Alliance are, of course, secret meetings between Britain and the US code breakers at the British code breaking establishment at Bletchley Park, which took place back in February 1941, before the US entered into the war. So that just gives you the reason to why we have a Five Eyes and why we have Australia and New Zealand there, to keep an eye on the Asian Pacific region. Matt Cock, he is the Australian Minister for Defence Personnel, said, and I quote here, "Australia must remain vigilant," end of quote, as tensions with China escalate. He added that he did not expect the deployments to further aggravate China. Yeah, right. That's nonsense. How do we think China's going to react to this? When one thing I want you guys to always remember, in international relations, context matters. Nothing has to be said except that a message like this. You are allocating 6 B-52s into Australia, the message is there. That's why I always say, in international relations, context matters. And of course, we all remember what happened in the deal in 2021. It was in September, if I'm not mistaken, when Australia, the US, and UK made the arrangements of AUKUS. You remember that one? It's for the US to deliver nuclear-powered submarines, ditching the Europeans, which was France at that time. So the US exert power on Australia to break the deal that they had with France at that time. It tells you right there, Australia has no, and I say it, has no sovereignty. It's almost like with the British monarchy, that the the king or queen, whatever in England, still has considered as the head of state in Australia, which is ludicrous, but hey, it's Australia's country. The Australians themselves have to decide for this kind of stuff. So, but here's the thing, in my opinion, such a move by the United States and Australia will escalate the regional tensions and gravely, gravely undermine regional peace and stability. Like I would say, I look for the trends where things are going, because this action like this could, and I say could, trigger an arms race in the region. Yeah, that's what I see going. So, even Australian Prime Minister Anthony Albanese, who turns up to be a very weak leader, politically speaking, couldn't take stand. Of course, he can push back against the United States. The guy is so weak. So he said that the US and Australia cooperate on defense matters. Well, yeah, because the Australia has no say into what the United States decides on. So, and from time to time, according to Albanese, from time to time during some sort of tension times, so the United States and Australia will come together. You can read between the lines in all this. No? So, and as I said again, in September 2021, Australia, US, and UK announced the new security deal known as AUKUS, which basically was nothing but, some sort of a posturing, because you and I know AUKUS will be useless anyway. That's like having Japan and South Korea involved. Well, they are useless anyway. What are they going to do? Nothing. And basically with AUKUS is that it will allow Australia to field a fleet of nuclear submarines by 2040 with the assistance of their partners. I'm not laughing out of mockery here, but I'm laughing out of the stupidity. Why are we ratcheting up tensions for no reason? It's almost like, we want a conflict to be there, because that's what it signals. And we are hoping to the conflict in Ukraine to subside and the dust settles and people live in peace, instead of creating more tensions in other parts of the world. And that leads me to leave you with the question of the day. And the question of the day is this: will Taiwan be the next conflict zone after Ukraine? Let me repeat that. Will Taiwan be the next conflict zone after Ukraine? Make sure to leave me some comments. I would love to read your insights about it and answers. And as always, guys, remember, geopolitics impacts your daily life in more ways than one. Till next time. Bye-bye.